Well, folks, I think it finally happened. I think that I finally caught that curse they tried to warn me about. Now, throughout this stream, to anybody who doesn't, know my interests or sense of humor, note that I'm not very superstitious and that I am mostly joking about this curse thing. The degree to which that mostly should be applied can be up to you. Now, what do I say when I mean I've caught a curse? Well, obviously my voice is a bit off. And that is unfortunately because I was sick for a while previous to this, and I finally got better right before New Year's. I was sick from something that was not COVID. I tested, and it must have been a flu or some other sort of bug. And after that point, I had a nice New Year's. A day or two after New Year's, I was streamed again. That was the last time I checked in. It's been maybe a week almost. Not quite, but close to that. And very shortly after that, or right around that time, my family got COVID through a coworker of my brother's, and these things spread around. Now, me catching COVID is just one of several sort of funny, crazy things that have occurred recently. And when I was thinking about these crazy things that occurred, I realized that I sort of jokingly cast a curse on myself by accident right before this all happened. What do I mean by this? Well, to start, since I'm just going to be chatting here in my room for this one, let's shrink me and play around with some graphs while we're chatting. I do have some footage to show in a minute of some of the things I'll say, but until I have any footage necessary to pull up, let's whip open one of our favorite stream backgrounds, which is creating graphs on Desmos. Now, Desmos being a random graphing calculator that works well. Some folks like other ones like GeoGebra. These are good free softwares. Now, we're just going to whip up some graphs for fun in the background, and I did have an idea for what graphs we're going to be fiddling around with for our background today. Basically, cool stuff happens, maybe cursed stuff, when we look at putting a trigonometric function on each side of an equation, especially with an inequality. This one creates that weird graph. We've tried dividing these by each other. That does things. Different things if I change the trig functions. Now I figured what we're going to do is sort of combine those with a little bit of addition, because when you use addition mixed with it's sort of a multiplicative sort of thing, division, the inverse of multiplication. We get weird things when we try and combine additive things and multiplicative things, sort of the inverse of a multiplicative thing, but close enough. So what if we say sine of y plus that is less than that? We're starting to get pretty wacky. Now what if we put an x plus right there? Wowie zowie. Starting to go places. Now when you really get cooking is when you put a variable on some of these, and then you can make them move. Ooh, we hit that grid state for a second. Right there was pretty similar to that grid we saw before. So I'm just going to be adding some layers like this, playing around with this in the background, while we talk about whether or not I accidentally cursed myself. Now, what was I doing that was so cursed? Well, it was number related. There are some numbers that some folks consider to be unlucky numbers. And in fact, I think it'll be worth taking a peek at what numbers some folks consider unlucky. So we'll go to Wikipedia. Is it com or org? Oh, cool. They have both. That's good. Com sent me to org. I love Wikipedia. Wikipedia is underrated, despite it being a massive thing online, because people always doubt its credentials. Yes, it is not like reading a research paper. But none of the other sources people quote are either. Wikipedia is a better source than Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Reddit, all of those. And so I don't know why it gets discredited. Now, here we're going to look up unlucky numbers. And this is the type of thing that it's like, I just want to know info about this. Whatever info they give me for free is good. How could it be wrong? I mean, if they tell me a wrong historical detail, that could be wrong. But like when they tell me, okay, this number's unlucky in this place, unless they're drastically wrong, they're just giving me free info. They don't have unlucky number, but they have numerology, and I bet they have a section for unlucky. Okay, so we don't really have that description here. I'll say the numbers that I know felt unlucky, in quotes, in my American culture. Those numbers were 13, which I personally always liked the weird unlucky trait. Now, there are origins of why 13s is unlucky. In fact, there's a term for that. You know, it's funny. Wikipedia does not have an article for unlucky numbers, but I already know they have an article for this thing called triskaidekaphobia. Fear of the number 13 is called triskaidekaphobia. Now, there are many beliefs about it. In my opinion, when I've averaged all of it, there are two main sources of the unluckiness of 13. One is stuff that occurred in the Bible, specifically related to the Last Supper. Others are the general fact that 12 is so divisible, and that 12 is a highly composite number known as a dozen, and 13, the baker's dozen, is a little off. It's like, okay, so we have a little more than a dozen, but we can't divide it right anymore. It's prime. We went from this highly composite to a prime. Sort of like going from 6 to 7, but a little high enough up the number line that it feels spooky. Now, it's funny to call 13 high up the number line, but, you know, if we're trying to judge highness up the number line, either we have to say that every number that we can describe that's finite sized is tiny, or we kind of have to say that every number we can describe that's bigger than 1 is huge. So I almost go for the vibe of any number that's bigger than 1 is huge, as opposed to any other finite number is tiny. We almost have to pick one of those dependent on the circumstance. Now, triskaidekaphobia is a fear of 13, but I actually have an image of me from the past. You see, as a child, I liked the unluckiness, and I flipped that into a lucky thing. I was like, who's going to want their curse to be unlucky? If I'm going to be superstitious as a joke to my... Like, I didn't actually believe it, but if I'm going to kind of play with superstition for fun, why not have it be lucky and not unlucky? Unlucky is less fun than lucky. So, we're going to see a little image of... This is a shirt I often wore. It says Lucky 13. Turns out it's for a bar somewhere, but I didn't know that. I was young at this age. And this shirt I would wear is... and yes, these are actual photos. I have many physical photos from my past that we can observe when they are... Either when they're crucial or if anyone wants to dive through the box at any point. I have a few more that are applicable over here, too. But 13 I always thought was fun. It was, in fact, my favorite number for a certain period of life. I liked the fact, and when it was my favorite number, I suppose the primeness came into play subtly, but it was more of a cultural thing, more of a people treat it as unlucky. I think that's kind of funny and fun. Let's treat it as lucky. So, and I didn't really get that from the bar, by the way. That was something I liked, and so someone gave me the shirt. But when we look at further unlucky numbers, another very common one comes up that's also in a way related to the Bible, mostly. This one even more than 13. And that number is 666. Now, it's funny because what's cursed about the number to many people is the repetition of the digit 6. The digit 6 being a like miniature cursed thing, and then we repeat it 3 times and it's super cursed or something. But really, are we looking at the digit representation of this number in base 10? Or are we looking at this number is 666 of a thing, which would look different in different bases? It only happens to be what is known as a rep digit, a number with the same digit repeated only, a single digit multiple times, only a single non-zero digit consisting the number, essentially. So it happens to be a rep digit in base 10, but it's not in every base. So are we looking at 666 of a thing, which is a pretty cool number, because that number is triangular. It's in fact known as doubly triangular. And these are things that we'll, explore more details about in a topic I was filming. So, you see, not only is 666 something that seems cursed, I mentioned I have a contender for an actually cursed number. The contender for the actually cursed number that I have is 666 with brackets around it. You see this right there? The 666 with brackets around it. Now, I mean, like around the middle one. This is one way of writing the notation. 6 hexated 6. Hexated is the operation beyond pentation. What's pentation? Pentation's the operation beyond tetration. What's tetration? Tetration's the operation beyond exponentiation. So, this number is really, really big. It is very hard to envision for the human mind, but I like how it requires so few digits. And I invented my own styles of big, big numbers that are ways of using a similar-ish notation to convey even bigger, bigger, bigger numbers while still not needing many digits or symbols. There are other people who have explored this. There's a field called Googology, related to Google being, one of the smaller of the big numbers. But Google pales in comparison to this thing. And this thing pales in comparison to what I invented called sandwich numbers. But the sandwich numbers are going to be in an episode. Now, essentially, the next 2 episodes I've been filming are... I've been filming 2 because I was behind on schedule from being sick for so long. And then finally, I filmed for like a day or 2 with my camera guy. And then my family gets sick again. So he can't come over for, safety reasons. And so I do have other camera people, but I'm not going to have them come over either. I have been filming some clips with my mother, my dear mother, who is also sick with me. And she actually has some conditions that for a day or so left me very scared when she got COVID along with me. But she is doing okay. Me and my brother made sure everything's okay. And she's getting better quicker than me now because she's taking one of those medications from the doctor that may speed up the process of it. I don't know, among other factors. But she was healthy enough to help me film some rare clips for, not this episode, but I'm working on 2 episodes because I was so behind on schedule, and now I have 2 half-finished ones now that I'm sick again. The next one that's going to come out, which should be out hopefully in a few days, I have almost all the footage for the episode, is a snack break, as I call ones where I do almost more culinary experiments. Now, no, these are the episodes that come out on the Combo Class channel, not on this one called Domotro from Combo Class, which is just like this is technically my bonus channel, even though it has more subscribers. So if anyone quits the live stream, go to my Convo Class channel and watch whatever videos you missed from there. But the next one coming out there is what I call a snack break. I do it once in a while. It's like every 5 or so episodes, maybe even every 10 episodes, I'll do like a culinary related thing. This is by far the craziest snack break. It has some of the craziest chaos, maybe the craziest fire scene that has been in an episode yet. Some of the really craziest chaos yet. And it also has me taking an experiment further than I could find any data for online. This is not me learning facts and sharing them while I make them with food. This is me testing something that I could not find data about. I tested something very, very... It took a long time. All I'm going to say is... How about this? I won't say what I cooked, but I cooked something at different stages, including a version that I cooked for 1 day. It was cooking for 24 hours. So, okay, this is going to be a really wild episode coming out. I still need to film some scenes for. But that's a snack break. It will be applicable in a bit. Now, the episode after that, I was like, let's also film some scenes for the next math episode, which is going to be about these sandwich numbers I created. But it's also just going to be about, I don't know to what degree those will even fit in the episode, because I have a lot to say about, whoa, what did I, oh, this is scrolling through the episode. 6-hexated 6, which I think deserves to be the actually treated as cursed number. If something's going to... Okay, we're not going to show too much stuff going on. This episode is also quite crazy. Now, where's my 666? Okay. Okay, no, wait. We can't show too many spoilers by accident. Trust me, this episode is wild. Now, so the egg one's pretty wild too. But... 6-hexated 6 deserves to be the actually cursed version of 666 because 666 is only weird looking in base 10, is a doubly triangular number, and other cool stuff. Now, this number will go into why once we get to that. Now, I've made an episode about tetration before on that channel, and we hinted at pentation and hexation. But in this episode, we'll really look at, like, what does it mean to understand a number? Can the human brain understand this number? Or are these symbols, how many walls of translation, and are they impenetrable, are between this representation and a human brain conceiving this number? What does it mean to conceive a number? So, because we can't imagine that many balls of a thing, but we can write it in 3 symbols with a couple brackets. So what does it mean to conceive a number? Now, this episode, though, the thing is, since I was filming this bit at night, and I was playing up the mood of everyone thinks 666 is, not everyone, obviously, probably not most of my viewers, but I have genuinely gotten comments from viewers in past streams that were like, stop talking about 666, especially while you're out in the night with the candles and stuff. Which is, why I had to, use some candles while I'm talking about my 666. We can't let our folks get too superstitious out here. Or should we? Because after I filmed this episode, which in the intro of it, I mentioned how we're going to be talking about some cursed, unlucky numbers in a basically joking way. And then in our outro, I say...
Today's topic didn't get any of us...
What is this?
Now, hopefully today's topic didn't get any of us too cursed.
I hope you could hear that. That says, now, hopefully today's topic didn't get any of us too cursed. And there's a few other lines I have filmed in there where I'm, like, joking about, like, we're taking 666 all the way this time, baby. You got some superstition? We got our 666s. We got our 6x8ed 6s. We got candles. We got darkness. We're going to make it spooky. But here's the thing. Right after I did that, all this bad stuff happened to me. So did I actually curse myself, folks? Did I give myself a curse? Because right after that happened, first of them, as I've mentioned, my family caught COVID. And that includes me. You can probably hear it in my voice still. I'm not 100% better. In fact, I'm probably not even testing negative yet. I'm still like trapped in the house. Now, that's just the beginning of the kind of funny incidents that occurred right after this. Let me take a peek at our chat and say, thank you all for joining. Someone said they thought it was a concussion. Luckily, I don't think I've ever gotten a concussion. I've had some really bad medical incidents. I have broken my femur. I have had a seizure. There's a lot of bad stuff that's happened to me. But somehow I don't think I've ever gotten a concussion. Similarly, people always expect that I will burn myself when we do some things, such as all that fire I showed a minute ago, or such as a scene that's in our next snack break episode on the Combo Class channel that hopefully I'll have out in a few days. That is maybe the craziest fire scene yet. In those scenes, people always expect I'm going to burn myself, but I've never hurt myself to any degree when I'm doing something that looks really crazy in Combo Class. The one time, I guess, when my desk was broken at the end of grade -1, I stepped on the desk and it snapped and I cut my leg. Not that bad, but I cut my leg a little bit. So that was the one time I hurt myself doing something that looks crazy on video and it resulted in an injury. All the other times I've done it, it's been something too mild that I took for granted, that I wasn't giving enough due diligence to, but it was a mild thing that I just didn't respect, and then that can make it a medium thing. Now, because of that, I've burnt myself 3 times. This sounds really dumb, but in the past few months, I've burnt myself within all these sicknesses I've had 3 times, none of which related to the fire stunts. 2 of which I have on video, and 1 of which relates to today's story. Now, you have to go back in the streams later, I guess, if you want to see the on video ones, but a month or few ago, I tried to lift up a candle that was in a glass container, and I just didn't think that, the candle, how bad can a candle, it was a tiny birthday candle. How bad can that burn me? Like a candle, I do the trick where you run your finger through the candle real quick and you don't even get hurt. But how bad could a birthday candle burn me? But the glass was really hot. It was leaning up against it and it heated up the glass really crazy. So I touched this glass and I was like, ow. And I got this burn on my finger right there. That made a big blister and then healed. Then, I think with the same birthday candles. I think it was the same birthday candles the second time. This one was on a recent stream, a few streams ago. I literally lit myself on fire by accident. Now, I know everyone's going to be itching to see that. Don't quit the stream. But when you're done watching the stream, when you're bored, note that there is footage on the live tab of this channel of me accidentally lighting myself on fire from the birthday candles. Now, the thing is, the lab coat is usually so good at protecting me, and it even protects me from the third burn we'll hear about. But it lit on fire way too easily. I got to look at which type of lab coats I get for grade -3. This thing ignited way too easy. I might need a different brand next time. Now, this lab coat, as it ignited, it didn't burn me that bad. It left holes in a few layers. You can see the hole in that layer too. I was wearing this undershirt. I don't know if you can see it that well, but there's like a hole in that one too. But what hurt is I swatted it out with my hand, and it got some of the lab coat material on my hand, and it was super dark out, and the only water I had right there was a hose. So I'm like trying to use the hose on my hand, and then I sprayed the laptop by accident. And then I'm like trying to clean the laptop while I'm trying to treat the burn, and I didn't know when I had gotten all the lab coat off in the darkness. So I'm like rubbing my hand really hard while it was like doing that. So it's almost all healed. We'll see what that one's looking like right now. Don't worry, folks. It's not gonna be gross. It's almost all healed, but not 100%. This is the burn that I got previously from swatting out this, and I had to have gauze on my hand for a while. It made a very large blister, but I made sure the blister, tried not to pop for a long time. It sunk down. It's gonna heal. Maybe it'll leave a tiny scar. I don't know, but if your lab coat's on fire, I guess just take it off. Don't swat it out. But then there's a third burn, and third burn was the one that occurred right around the time I caught COVID and cursed myself. Now, oh shoot, I gotta plug in this computer. My battery is really low. Okay, no, we're at 10%. We're not that bad. I still need to plug it in though. So, let me plug this in real quick. We'll take a 1-second break while we get our graphs back. Where's my graphs? We're going to do secants this time. And we're just making up graphs for our background. They look really cool. But also, I need to grab some water and the charger. So, we're taking a 1-second break while we look at a graph, do a cool thing. I guess you can't even see what I'm doing. I'm setting it up. And I will look at more chats. I haven't looked at all of them yet. I saw one mentioned a magnifying glass. Yes, I have played with magnifying glasses. They are really cool. We might have to do an episode about them sometime because I have some in the classroom even. Because they represent detective imagery to me. And I like clues and that detective vibe. But also, they can light a fire surprisingly well. On the right sunny day, if you hold a magnifying glass in the right spot, you can light something on fire. I tried one time for a video to light a piece of paper or set of pieces of paper that were soaked in lighter fluid on fire with the magnifying glass, make it blow up, and it wouldn't. It's weird. The magnifying glass in the sun burnt a hole in the paper without igniting it in the lighter fluid way. Whereas, like, if I had a match next to it, it would have gone boom. So, I need to investigate that, and we may have an episode about magnifying glasses someday. Because, yes, I have lit many things successfully with a magnifying glass before. Now, let's just put A's on different sides here and add our slider and see if we make it really slow. If it does cool stuff. Yeah, it's having a lot of trouble seeing this. Whatever. This is what we're gonna have for our 2-minute break intermission. I know I'm intermissioning kind of quick, but I need water and the charger. So I'll be back in a sec. All right. So, let me get myself back. I got us plugged in, so we're not going to die on battery. Now, we can pause this and just fiddle around with it while I change some settings on these. Now, what I was mentioning... Oh, well, I guess first I'm going to go through the chat real quick, and then I'll continue the cursed story. Thank you all for commenting. Someone said it's a sick shirt. Yeah, this is one I often wear, unless you mean the lab coat, which is one I also often wear. I don't have that many clothes. I'm not a fashion guy, but glad that some people like it. Some people hate the dirtiness of the lab coat. And in this past month, and some people doubt that it helps me stay safe to any degree. But the lab coat doubters got a point when this lit on fire. But I got a point in the next story I'm going to tell in a minute, because the lab coat actually helped me from burn number 3. Now, somebody says that Schoenberg suffered lifelong triskaidekaphobia and died on a Friday the 13th after learning the digits of his age added to his least favorite number. He was 76. Man, that's brutal. That's why you don't hate on 13. You hate on 13? Say 13's unlucky. 13's going to say, all right, I'll be unlucky to you. You like 13. 13 will massage you, give you treats. Okay. Now, somebody asked, did I break a mirror? Not recently. Somebody, see, okay, we got one of the comments I'm talking about. I don't think this person's joking. Somebody actually thinks that I'm playing games with Satan. So I would like this person to explain, if they care to, what games with Satan am I playing? Is it the number 666? Is it its representation in base 10? Is it that if I talk about 666, I shouldn't be in the darkness with candles and make a spooky face? What exactly is cursed about this? Because to me, cursed would line up with sort of immoral in a way. And I don't see anything immoral about joking about the number 666 in the darkness with the candle. So feel free to, clarify. But a lot of people have this belief. Now, a lot of people also assume for some reason, like, I hate Jesus or something because I talk about it. That's what they say. Jesus still loves you. I have nothing wrong with Jesus. I'm not a Christian. However, I believe many of the teachings that are attributed to Jesus are great. I think, loving your neighbors and enemies, feeding the poor, these are things that Jesus did. He was, whatever was attributed, I don't know if he was a real person or not, but to whatever was attributed to Jesus, excellent. So I have nothing wrong with that. The fact that I don't have a superstition about 666 doesn't mean that I am different than what Jesus believed in. So, feel free to clarify. Now, however, I'm not a Christian. So if people think that you cannot enjoy whatever teachings were attributed to Jesus unless you believe 100% of them, sorry, I don't believe 100% of them. Now, somebody said it looked like Batman. I was seeing some birds, too. And so Batman, maybe you were seeing that when I was seeing some birds. Somebody said they sent proof on Discord that I didn't get cursed but got sick because of the curse. Wait, that's confusing. I didn't get cursed, but I got sick because of the curse. Which curse, if I didn't get cursed? Okay, now... lots of other fun comments. Thank you. Now, to continue the story, I was mentioning that is not the full extent of the bad things that happened to me right after. So I caught COVID right after I made that clip. I filmed the clip of the video where I was like, let's hope we don't get cursed from joking about all these 666s with our candles. Ha 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 ha. So I got cursed right after that. But, right after that, other stuff happened. Now, it's sort of a chain of events that some of this is going to be within the next episode. The egg episode, I'll probably do like a really quick synopsis of this and a voiceover because it's related to the snack break. It's related to not the 666 episode that is 2 episodes from now. It's related to the snack break that's 1 episode from now. You see, I decided I'll wait till I'm better to film all the clips for my more number-like episode till when my main camera guy can come over. Because that episode I need more shots outside of different types of stuff. I had more footage already filmed for my snack break. And so, with the snack break, I decided, okay, well, I'll be stuck at home. I can try and film this with some help from my family who are also sick. I can try and film the rest of this egg episode and still drop it while I'm sick. So, okay, I guess I mentioned it's about eggs. It's hard to keep track of which things I've mentioned, but it's going to become a crucial detail. It's going to need to be known. So, yes, to those who put together the dots from earlier in the episode, the snack break is semi-related to a strange thing that happens when you boil eggs for an unbelievably long time. Now, you may think you're used to what boiled eggs do when they're overcooked. I thought I was used to it. But something different happens after 7 hours. And I was like, I need to test that. What happens after 7 hours? And since I was stuck at home with COVID, and since I was like, okay, it's our chance. This is my chance to do this. I tested cooking an egg for 24 hours. So we're going to see that, like boiling an egg for 24 hours. In a slow cooker, so it's a slow boil, but it's still boiling it. The slow cooker is set to high. So I cooked one for 24 hours to see what happens then. So this is what we are doing in the next snack break. And while I'm filming this, with just help from my family, especially my mom, who was the one who was sick at the exact same time as me. And so we were helping each other out with stuff. Like there were some times where she couldn't move as well, so I'd, get her food and stuff. And other times where she could move really well. So I was like, hey, do you want to help me film an egg thing? So with this episode, as I'm filming this, I'm like, okay, I'm trying to make the 7-hour egg work. And it did not work at first. I had to do multiple attempts because there were problems that you'll see these ones in the episode, but maybe the curse made them happen. There were problems that made the 7-hour eggs not work until I did multiple attempts, and then they worked. But while I was this in between the 7-hour egg and the 24-hour egg, after a batch that didn't work, I was like, okay, I gotta move the slow cooker to a different outlet, set it to a different setting, try different stuff. So I'm outside and it's been raining a bunch and it's all muddy out there. And I'm carrying the slow cooker full of hot water and eggs. And I slip on this brick in the mud. And I splash as I hit the ground. The slow cooker's hot water all over myself. Now, it ended up being a crucial, detective moment later. Because later I was like, I could have burnt myself way worse than that. Worse than I did on this third burn. The amount I burned myself kind of implies the slow cooker was not working correctly at that setting. I almost gave up on the egg episode and said it doesn't work. But the fact that I didn't burn myself that bad on the water, I'm like, the water should have been hotter. So it was this weird detective moment later. But when I splashed the water on myself, it was not a bad burn, but it hit the exact same hand that the other 2 burns were on. This hand, the entirety of this hand, just has a very mild burn on it right now. It was not bad, mostly because I instantly ran inside and ran cold water on it. Running water, especially just cold or room temperature running water on a burn, is what you want. You want right away running water. You want to do that for maybe 20 or 30 minutes if it's a bad burn. Running water. Now, as I was doing that, it wasn't that bad, but I was kind of panicking because the amount of my hand that was red, it looked sort of sunburnt. You can't always tell when it first hits you. Is it going to blister later? How bad is it going to be? You know? And it's on my good hand. I'm right-handed. And it's the third burn on my right hand that I've gotten in the past few months. And not even from stuff like this. Like, this is not even the stuff that gives me the burns. It was like twice on birthday candles and once on a slow cooker while I'm cooking an egg experiment. But, so, I burn it. And as somebody here says, it's good to be calm. That is always true, but I was not that calm here because although I was running the water over it properly, I was doing the calm actions. My lab coat cut off where the water got me because it splashed my lab coat on the hot water and my hand on the rest. And there was a line I could see that looked sunburned, sort of, from right above where the lab coat cut off. It's probably still slightly there, but I can't really see it. The burn turned out to not be very bad. But right away, I was like, oh my God, if it does blister or something, it's going to be the whole hand. It's going to be my entire good hand. Because it was the entire, like, where the lab coat cuts off. So, as I said, the lab coat doubters got a point when I lit myself on fire with the birthday candle because the lab coat lit. But I get a point now. We're 1-1 because I have more than 1 point. Lab coats helped me many times. But okay, for this month we're 1-1 because no burn happened under a certain line. I tried to get a video or photo of this, so I'll maybe put this in the egg episode. It was hard to capture, but I kind of got a photo/video that shows the line where it looks like sunburn above and not below. Now, it didn't evolve bad on that burn. It was not like these ones. These ones were far worse than this whole hand burn, which gave me that whole clue that like shifted the arc of the egg episode. I was like, wait, the slow cooker's running in some weird wrong temperature because it's... And I didn't just use slow cookers. I also cooked eggs for many hours in other methods. But the slow cooker method, I retried, and that worked the best in the end because, none of them worked the best. What worked the best was testing the longest egg I could cook. And we got to an entire day, folks. But you're not going to believe the one-day egg. It looks so different than a normal hard-boiled egg. Now... Here, I burnt myself, but it wasn't that bad. But thing after thing happened like that. Just within the first couple days after I joked about having a curse. Or I didn't joke about having a curse. I joked about hopefully this doesn't give me a curse because we're doing our 666 stuff to the maximum. Like I've always mention that when people say, oh no, come to Jesus, 666 is not Jesus-like or something. And I'm like, what's not Jesus-like about this number? But I've mentioned, someday we're going to do an episode where I say a lot of facts about the number, and we're going to go to the even more cursed numbers, like 6, bracket 6, unbracket 6. And... also known as 6-hexated 6. But I didn't know that as soon as I actually did that episode that I would accidentally curse myself. Oh man, what a shame. Now, that is sort of the story that of the portions that make sense to share for right now. There's some other personal stuff that was weird, with my curse, but yeah, for any newcomers, we're mostly joking your degree to how hard we go on that mostly about the curseness, but it looks like a butterfly kind of. Look at this. But other hard stuff happened right after that. But the COVID was obviously one of the harder parts. And what's really, really hard and annoying is that I was sick with a flu-like thing for a long time before this, for like a few weeks or something. I had some, might not have been a flu, might have been some other virus or something. And finally got over that. And then like a week later got, the current worst, it's not the current worst disease, but it's like the current of the main ones you could catch anywhere. The current most infectious one, and the current one that they don't know that much data about how much it damages you long term sometimes. So try and, if you're ever worried, wear your masks and stuff. Get your vaccines. That stuff is not myths. That stuff is actually works. Not flawlessly. You can still, I've gotten some vaccines. I try and wear a mask if I think it's necessary. You can still get it, but it helps to such a great degree. If I wasn't vaccinated, I would probably have COVID so much worse right now. I probably would have caught it multiple more times as well. But not only that, I would probably right now have it way worse and not be able to be streaming. Someone said God will not be mocked. I never even said the word God until I'm quoting you right now. So your choice that you're bringing, apparently I'm mocking God, but I never said the word God. So that's on you. But somebody said carry an umbrella in the sun. The sun is worse than COVID. Well, you could always wear a sunscreen if you're from a really sunny place. Sunscreen's good. I don't know if carrying an umbrella in the sun is helpful. Maybe you're just being silly there or something. But, wear your sunscreen if you're too worried. Now, anyway, maybe we'll visit the classroom in a moment because the classroom is in such a chaotic state. I haven't been able to clean it up to any degree while I've been sick, and it rained while I was sick. So normally when it rains, like a lot of stuff gets destroyed out there, and I have to go out and fix it. This time I did not go out and fix it. So, and it was right after we did some crazy fire stuff. A giant glass thing broke. A crazy amount of fires went down, and then it rained really hard, and I wasn't able to go out and clean up any of that yet. Now, somebody said the sun is a ton of radiation. Now, you might mean, like, some people get skin cancer from the sun. Skin cancer is worse than COVID on average, but it has a far smaller rate of people who get it. I live in a kind of foggy place. I live in the Bay Area of California. It's not that big of an issue here. If I go out on a really sunny hike and I'm going to be out in the sun for several hours, I wear sunscreen. If I go, somewhere, certain places, but that's not applicable everywhere because, like in the Bay Area here, I really only need to wear sunscreen a few days a year, and I do not think skin cancer will be my issue out of the many medical issues I actually have. Now, if you live somewhere where you go to the beach a lot or it's just really sunny and you're outside a lot, then make sure to wear sunscreen. An umbrella sounds kind of annoying to have to carry, but if you think it helps you, then go ahead. Now, somebody said a cursed thing. I don't know if this is exactly what you meant, but a cursed thing in math is the fact that a false statement can imply anything. And that is known as the principle of explosion, which is a really fun name. It's called something like that. Yeah, this is what I think the comment's referencing. So the principle of explosion is the law where any statement can be proven from a contradiction. That means that if a contradiction's in your system, that you can use it to somehow imply the sky is green and whatever you want. Similarly in numbers, if you can say that 1 + 1 = 3, you end up being able to say that 1 + 1 = 4. Not identical, but reminiscent. Now, and someone says the sun's the friend as well. And so you have to remember that too. I take vitamin D pills to help my bones because I have issues. And I have to take less vitamin D pills the more I'm in the sun. So the sun is actually really good for you in certain ways too. Like you do not want skin cancer. You don't want to get blasted with it. But it does give you vitamin D. And somebody was saying that they were referring more to the joke about me not getting cursed, but I'm sick because of the cursed. I still don't fully understand what you mean by that, but I'm glad that I accidentally thought that you meant the principle of explosion because we learned something here. Now, we will talk about stuff like this. I love logic like this. I learned a lot of it I got hooked on it originally from the authors Raymond Smullyan and Martin Gardner and a few other logic writers. This is in the field of logic, which is a subset of math, you could call. But I love logic. We haven't done many videos about it, but like logical paradoxes, what types of systems can have truths and falsehoods, we'll definitely go into that. That'll connect us to Boolean algebra, to Gödel's incompleteness theorems, to a variety of fun paradoxes, and other cool stuff. A variety of cool analogies for these paradoxes. Someone said they heard running helps with keeping calcium from leaving the bones. And running helps too, and so does the sun. And if you really need it, you also take vitamin D pills like me. A lot of different things can help at once. Now, but those are good thoughts about ways to, stay safe or healthy or whatever. But remember, everything's in moderation. So if you're worried something's bad for you, it's usually that you're doing the wrong amount of it and not that it is an evil thing. Unless, like, it's, you're doing some crazy drug or something or hurting yourself in some crazy way. Typically, if it's something like the sun or running, these are things you need to do in a particular amount. And so you want to just figure out your range that makes sense for you to do each of these things. Someone said Raymond Smullyan is their favorite. He is such my favorite that I'm sure I probably have a book of his like within arm's distance. Let me see. Do I have a Smullyan here? I'm sure I probably do. I'm not seeing them right here. But they cannot be far because I was showing them to the stream another day. I have like half of his books. I can only afford to buy books at such a rate because books cost money. Luckily, I like paper books, but I've found that you can get a lot of books, such as like a Smullyan book or stuff like that, from used online for like, counting the shipping, less than $10. So when I can, I buy books, and someday I'll have all of Smullyan's books because I like them enough. And right now I have like half of them. Now, somebody's saying the consequences of a disproof of Gödel's incompleteness theorem are funny and relate to explosion right here. We're looking to those. There are also a few Gödel's incompleteness theorems. So he has a first and second, extra notably, incompleteness theorems. And they're really cool. And what I like about the Smullyan books that I originally learned about them, my first intro to those, is that there are ways to slowly approach them that make them digestible. If you first hear about them out of the blue, it doesn't make sense. Or if you think it makes sense, you're probably misinterpreting it. But if you like approach them from afar, learning things about how sentences and logic work, and even you having to use analogies, Smullyan would create we're on an island where this rule holds or whatever. And you can approach it in a way that ends up being very sensible feeling almost, even though it feels very foreign sounding if you just try and look it up. Now, going forward, I thought we'd visit the classroom because I've discussed the other things I wanted to show here. I had a few more photos. You know how I said I'm doing egg experiments? Well, my family has done Easter-like parties many times. For all the people who think that I hate Jesus because I talk about 666, how about the fact that my family does an Easter party every year, and we currently have a Christmas tree out there. I'm not even fully Christian. We usually actually do Hanukkah, but we it's a living one because we're planning on maybe planting it somewhere. But we have a pine tree with ornaments on it out there, and we do Easter-like parties. We don't call it Easter. We call it an egg party because Easter is a sort of weird thing to me, the whole story behind it, but the egg and life and spring parts of it are cool. And my family has very often done egg parties, including times where, when I was very young, you color a bunch of eggs and then you collect them. This is me and my friends as kids hunting for where eggs were hidden in the yard. And this is us trading our favorite eggs we'd collected, the ones that looked the coolest, the people had designed, trading them. Some of them we hollowed out, and I still have. So I'll put in the upcoming snack break, which is egg related. At some point, look in the shot for, there'll be a vase-like thing that I have a lot of eggs from years and years ago. How do I have eggs from years ago? Well, it turns out if you blow an egg hollow, there's a way to do it. You poke a hole on either end and blow all the stuff out. Then the shell lasts endlessly, basically, if you get all the inside out. And so there's a way to blow it and rinse it and make it actually last forever. I mean, maybe not forever, but these have lasted many years. So I have some of the greatest hit eggs. Sometimes the greatest hit eggs are drawn on a hard-boiled one because most of them are hard-boiled. And then those have to be eaten and cracked, But if you know you're going to attempt to make a really good egg, then we also have a smaller bowl of hollow ones that you can use if you want to try an epic egg. Now, the other image I have relates to something I've been doing while I was sick recently, which is polishing up designs on the card game. I mentioned that I was trying to design a mathematical card game in recent streams. Well, folks, I'm going to make one. I'm going to even publish it because it's going to need its own cards. I'm going to publish the first edition of a card game, and it will be very fun to play on its own, and maybe someday we'll be able to add expansion packs that you can mix the decks and stuff, because deck construction is what makes many card games fun, where you have a larger batch of cards and you have to pick which ones are in your deck. But even as a starter set, I'll make just of you play with this deck. I'm going to make a very fun one. It's going to be incredibly mathematical, but with this card game, the image I want to show here is that I actually have many. So this is me playing a game when I got hooked on a card game, which was Magic cards. This is me and my friends in the old house I was in doing a Magic card game night. But before that even, I remember seeing Pokemon cards at my friend's house. He had gotten a few somehow. They were on the schoolyard. Kids would have Pokemon cards and we traded for them somehow or something. My friend had some of them. We had no idea how they worked, but we thought they looked cool. So we would design our own cards. And we would do them on the back of business cards. So my mom's a graphic designer, and sometimes she would have an extra batch of someone's misprint business cards or something. So we would, on the blank part of the business card, draw trading cards. And I have a giant box around here somewhere of old cards I designed. So this is something I have enjoyed doing for a while, but I spent many years not thinking about it. Now that I've thought more about the trading card games, got more interested in the math behind Magic the Gathering again, and, studied what differences it has from other popular trading card games such as Pokemon, Yu-Gi-Oh!, Digimon, and etc. Or the modern ones like Hearthstone and stuff, or Hearthstone. But what I'm trying to do is not only make a more mathematical game, but I have a lot of goals. One goal was I need like a starter set to work in a multiplayer way where you could share a deck, or that you could out of the multiplayer deck create your own deck of your best cards that you thought would be most strategic of those, and play someone else who had the multiplayer set with your own crafted decks, and that it would have the right rule set to allow expansions to fit in without changing the rules much. Then I wanted the cards tell as much or all of the info as possible. I don't want the cards I don't want you to have dice on the side to track like a life total. I don't want you to have to put beads on the cards. Maybe that'll be necessary with expansions someday, but for now I'm finding a way to avoid it. I want the cards to tell the entire story about how much health each player is at and what thing is in what state and what you need to know. Similarly, I don't want any memorization required. I want a player to be able to forget everything that just happened, look at the state of the game, the things they can see, known or unknown, and do the best, most strategic move. And so that's hard because there's some cards that have face up or face down statuses. So I have to make sure if something becomes face up, it might need to stay face up, so that we have cards that are like have become known or haven't become known to which players. There were many other things I was trying to get right in this game. And slowly and steadily, while I've been sick, I would have like moments in the night where I was like, oh my God, I got it. I figured out that one bit. I know exactly how I want players' overall health or life type things to work. And so it's going to be a very unique game. Like the mechanics are things that I'll admit, like, some of the things are inspired by my memory of testing games like Magic and reading about those others, like Yu-Gi-Oh! And Pokemon and stuff. For example, that cards have a unused or used status that Magic calls tapped, that having a card vertical or horizontal conveys two states, and that things like... Actually, no, the things evolve so much that I'm having trouble thinking of anything from a game like Magic that is even that similar to my game anymore. There's certainly going to be some similarities to like my studies of what has worked and hasn't worked for games in the past. But a lot of these were just me up late, really sick at night, figuring out, thinking, how can I make this mathematical yet flavorful yet fit all these weird goals I have for game design? And I'm putting it together. I'm starting to design test cards that I'm going to test with friends, and I'm going to make it work because I'm having fun with it. It's not going to take up too much of my time, so don't worry. It's not going to replace my videos or whatever. But on the side, I will be developing a card game that someday I'll be able to sell versions for as cheap as I can. It's not going to be, I don't like money. I don't want to think about money. I'll need money, but... So we'll have to sell them for something. Can't lose money, but we'll make it as cheap as we can. Now, we're not going to be pulling no Magic the Gatherings now that they're owned by the big Hasbro company. We're not going to be pulling any 30th anniversary stunts, like how they say, oh no, we don't really endorse having what's called proxies, fake versions of the cards. Like they don't let them in tournaments or whatever. You have to buy the real card. Can't use the fake one. They don't even endorse buying the proxies because they know it takes away from people buying the real ones. But they sold fake versions that are essentially official proxies that are fake. You can't use them in tournaments. They sold fake versions of cards from the oldest, hardest to get set, but fake versions of them that you can't use in tournaments for something that cost $1,000. And they marketed it as like, it's our 30th anniversary. Let's celebrate. So that's not the designers of Magic. That's the big company that owns them. But really missing the mark of how humans are going to react to that. It's like, okay, I guess you maybe made some money off that, so maybe it worked for you. But come on, you got to know how much of your player base you're going to isolate by saying, we're doing a 30th anniversary celebration, and then it costs $1,000. So, Someone says Yu-Gi-Oh is the hardest to follow mathematically. The cards almost write the rules of the game on the spot. I also read that Yu-Gi-Oh does not have as official of a conclusive, comprehensive rules in one fixed set working state of thing, in that there could be combos of cards that would be ambiguous what they did. I'm not sure if I've seen an example of that, but I've heard that their comprehensive rules are not as official or in one place or fixed or working as well as Magic. Magic is really good at, when they make a new set, adjusting the comprehensive rules to fit whatever changes will not make any cards come together to have an ambiguous interaction. There have been times they've messed up, many times, but with tens of thousands of cards, it's actually a kind of low rate they've messed up. So, okay, somebody's asking if I'm looking to Bitcoin. I'm not going to tell you folks whether I do or don't own any cryptocurrency, because it's not the topic of our streams, and I don't want to turn this into people trying to talk about some coin or another coin or whatever. We are not about trying to make money off our mathematics. We're about trying to enjoy life with our mathematics and help others enjoy life and do cool, deep projects and stuff. So, don't expect in the near future that there will be streams about how to make money with math or anything like that. Especially because if you see us, those things are so ambiguous and different, person by person, location by location, time by time. If you ever saw a stream called like how to make money with math, whether it was by me or someone else, don't believe it. So people are saying various different cool things about games as well. And someone says, you play with witchcraft and wonder why you brought a curse on yourself. So, once again, I love how ambiguous all of these accusations that show up here and there are. What part is witchcraft? I'm just genuinely curious. Someone else said it was anti-Jesus. This person says witchcraft. What part of writing 666 on a whiteboard at night and showing it to the camera with a candle because it's dark out is witchcraft? I'm just curious. Now, somebody's saying they like how Magic cards cycle and they have really decades old ones. I have some very old Magic cards as well, but not old enough to be worth money. They're not from the very first set or anything like that. But I did get, as a gift when I was a kid, from an older family friend who quit, some older cards. Now, this is like an example of a set I actually played in that's old. Now, this to some people would be way old enough. Odyssey block, I don't know when that came out, but it's got to have been like 20 years ago. Now, that was like the time I was actually playing up through. This was like one of the later sets. Oh no, this is in Mirrodin block. I went a little past that. Here's one from Scourge. These all have different stamps on them. This one's called Judgment. This one's the Mirrodin itself. What I was showing was not actually the cards, but this little stamp on the side shows what set it's from. The oldest ones don't have any stamp, though. Now, I don't have any from the alpha or beta sets, so don't worry. I'm not, like, overlooking $500 sitting here. These are not worth much money. But I do have some that are, like, old. This is from, like, a pretty old set. It was called, like, it's either, like, 4th edition or Revised or Chronicles or something. I wasn't quite playing back then, but I got them as a gift like a few years after those sets came out from a family friend. So yeah, here, these are old sets. This one is called The Dark. I know way too much about this guy. It's funny how much came back in like old memory, because I used to play this when I was like 10 years old, and then I took literally more than 15 years. I did not touch the cards or think about it really. And then like last year, I looked at the math of it and I accidentally got hooked again. Don't worry, I'm not going to buy any of the cards. They're a little piece of cardboard that are overpriced. However, the only time I'd buy cards is if I bought them with a bunch of friends for cheap to do what's called a draft, where it's like a group event that's very fun. But I'm not planning on buying any cards. I'm planning on making some episodes about the math of them. And I'm probably planning on buying some of the cheap fake versions, not the $1,000 ones, folks. But I'm going to buy some, like, just proxy cards. Screw Wizards of the Coast and Hasbro. I'm going to buy fake cards, and I'm going to make a episode using the fake cards. And then I can show you all of the Magic card interactions I want to show. And I'll be loud and clear that they're fake. Like, what's illegal is trying to sell them as a real card or use them in a tournament. But there's nothing technically illegal about me having a fake version of them. I'll be loud and clear that they're not for sale, they're not real. Also, I'll be loud and clear because if I show something related to having a bunch of like really expensive cards, I don't want my viewers to think I'm like a millionaire because I'm very poor. But not too poor to keep making our episodes. Special thanks to our Patreon supporters. Sorry to those folks. It's been so long since I put up the bonus content. And I literally have one ready to post that I was going to post right before I got sick. Now that I'm finally feeling better, I have multiple ones that are even edited ready to post. And I just didn't like go through the online thing on Patreon to post them yet. But I'll have some cool stuff for you soon, I promise. Thank you to those people who help us have enough money to fund the show, because we are not affording Black Lotuses out here or anything. Now, somebody's mentioning something about one of Mark Rober's mechanisms. That guy's cool. I support that guy's work. I think he does cool stuff for engineering and science. And, like, I don't watch all of his videos by far. I probably watch a small fraction of his videos. But I think he's a cool guy. I think that he does good things for the world. So, yes, I would love to try more engineering. The thing is, I need like more resources and more of a team to try cool versions of like a science experiment or an engineering experiment. And that's in fact one of the reasons we've been like 90% math episodes. Instead of someday it might be like 60% math episodes. I really like math, but I want to do more other stuff. Like now I was able to find a way to do all these crazy snack break experiments involving overcooking eggs for a billion years. That I was able to do as a science experiment of sorts. But I can't like do a really cool reaction without a lot of funds and a big team. So someday if I have a lot of funds and a big team, we may have more cool engineering and science episodes in between the other stuff. Now, let's see. I think we should take a little field trip to the ultra chaotic classroom, and you're going to have to forgive me for its status because, like I said, I filmed some of the craziest stuff breaking, stuff on fire type footage yet, and then got sick enough that I couldn't clean it up, and then it rained while I was sick on all of the broken stuff while I couldn't clean it up. So it's gonna look pretty wild out there. Now, I do need another 2-minute break. Somebody said, what's the mathematical probability of me getting a haircut? Now, I did shave when I was sick last time, so I would look much scragglier if I hadn't shaved a week or few ago. And as far as a haircut, I was planning on not shaving or getting a haircut until the end of the grade. Until grade -2 is over, which could be a few more months or half a year. I'm not sure. It'll be somewhere from like a few months to half a year from now. Would be when I was planning on cutting my hair and shaving. Now, I shaved early because the beard was getting in the way when I was sick. It was really annoying to have like snot in the beard and stuff. But the haircut, I might wait until then. We'll see. Grade -1, watch my grade -1 documentary and see. I cut off half of my... I grew it really long last time, the beard and the hair, and then cut off half of it. And I had it like that for a few weeks. So we'll see what we do. Maybe this time we'll cut off half the beard and the opposite half of the hair. Maybe. If I'm in the wrong mood and I get cursed again, we'll cut off one of the eyebrows. It's probably more of a grade -3 thing, though. Now, let's take a little peek at our classroom, but I need a 1 second break to get more water and set us up to go outside, because I am also feeling my voice starting to lose its power due to sickness and such. So we're not going to be streaming for 2 hours today, but we might get another 10 or 20 minutes of a little visit somewhere. So let's take a little peek at the yard and the classroom. But first, we're going to have to do a brief intermission. So let me set up some fun graphs for our 2-minute intermission. Our fun graphs will be, we're going to try changing these a bit. Put a plus up there. Now, this might be too complicated and weird to do anything cool, or it might do a lot of really cool stuff. So keep an eye on this for me, folks. Tell me if there's a really cool moment to when A is set to a certain thing. And I will start to bring us outside. The next you'll see will probably be outdoors. Okay, we have to take a 1 second visit just to show you how beautiful and little angels my little cats are. I just have to show you how much of little angels my little cats are. It's been raining out there, and they've just been hanging out here. And while I was sick, they keep me company, and that's my soft little dandelion. He was yawning right there. That's my soft little dandelion, who's so soft and sweet and has a giant mane, because his name's Dandelion, so he grew a big mane. And this is my little beautiful sage, who's my little beautiful sage as well. And he's perfect in his special little royal way. So, there's some more Dandelion being silly. Now, let's go to the classroom. I just wanted to give a little cat break, but I don't want to be out here too long because I don't know if other families going to need the zone, and I'm quite loud and dominant when I'm live. Hey folks, we're back. Here we are on my porch with that Christmas tree I was mentioning. That is a living tree. I suppose the ornaments are off it at this point. The ornaments must have gotten taken off recently, but it's now a living, pine-like tree that could be planted somewhere. Now, let's take a little stroll to the combo classroom briefly. It's quite late, so I should actually not be very loud. Here we are in our chaotic combo classroom with our broken clocks and such, and all of our awesome things in our background. Can we even see any of this? It's hard to see any of it, but we do have quite chaotic scene that has emerged there. I realized it's about to hit midnight, so I should not be very late out here. I mean, loud and late combo. And I think I want to wrap up the stream anyway, so I'm sorry that we only get a little brief look at our combo classroom for the moment. Ooh, this is one of the more chaotic parts. This we'll have to view in another upcoming episode. But why broken such? Yes, we do have the footage of it. Now, can you even see this? Now, that's probably all for today. Thank you for joining me here. I don't know if you can see me at all down here. Can you see me through this? Whoa. This will be a cool angle if I don't cut myself on it. Hey folks, it's me, Domotro. Anyway, that thing's very sharp and dangerous. I shall put it away. And I shouldn't be loud out here because I just realized it is about to hit midnight in just a minute or two. Thank you all for joining today's stream though, even though I was sick. Make sure to stay tuned on the Combo Class channel for my egg episode coming out soon, where I do some experiments that I don't know the last time in history these have been tried. And also stay tuned on this channel because I do have bonus videos and shorts that should have come out a week ago or more, but I went through all these sicknesses. Leave a comment if you think I did or did not genuinely curse myself, or if it's on a scale, what percent you think it's genuine that I cursed myself. As you know, I'm actually seeing it more of as a joke, but who knows if it's completely a joke, because coincidences can be meaningful and funny. So, I'll see you all in the next stream. I love you so much, and I will catch you either in our next stream and short and whatever, or if you want to see more cool links, there's a Discord and so on in the description. I love you all. Thank you for joining me, even while I was sick. You're all so